Well, hi everybody. I'm back here talking about food, my favorite subject these days, right? Especially breakfast, because we wake up in the morning and I'm nice and hungry and I want to really break my fast and get going. So I personally don't have breakfast, but we have a problem, especially when we have children at home, when we have to give them breakfast. So I had my little grandbaby with me last weekend, and of course I fed her breakfast every day. So I want to share with you some of what I've learned about breakfast and how to feed children, because they are the challenge. Because as adults, I always tell people that breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, but for children it can be, because they are growing, they need the calories and they need the nutrition before they go to school. So personally, I don't have breakfast in the morning. I prefer to have a dinner only, and sometimes I do 18-6, which is my 18-hour fasting and eating in a 6-hour window. So for adults, I think that's okay. But let's concentrate today on breakfast, especially what we're going to do for our children, because they really need a breakfast in the morning. So I'm going to dive right into it, because right here we have some bread. And what kind of bread do I like? Well, you know, bread is a processed food. Bread is made out of flour. And generally speaking, I don't like bread because it's full of grains and there's too many ingredients in it. Because it's made from enriched flour, they're going to add a lot of things. They took out all that fiber, and then they have to add back all the nutrients, because all that fiber is what contains all the nutrients in it. So unfortunately, it's got so many ingredients in here. And when I look at this label over here, there's about 23 different ingredients in here. So whenever I see so many ingredients, it's always suspect. You want to get some bread, 3 ingredients, make it yourself. Or find a place that's going to make very simple bread. Now, the question about whole wheat versus refined. Whole wheat will have more fiber in it. So it is true that you're going to get more fiber out of it. And refined will have more of the ingredients that they're going to add back on it. Generally speaking, I like sourdough bread, because sourdough does get rid of the lectins. In the fermentation process, the lectins will be reduced. So I like sourdough bread. Even children like sourdough bread. And make it at home, 3 simple ingredients, and I don't mind 1 slice of it, upon which we can put some high protein foods or even a slice of nice cheese on it. Not processed cheese, it has to be regular cheese. So bread, yes, okay, but you got to get the right kind of bread, not one with that has 23 different ingredients in it. And then I saw this, which is instant oatmeal, maple and brown sugar. Now this thing comes with a label on it. Now I have told you all before, if it comes with a label, that's not a nutrition label. That's a warning label. It's telling you, warning. And here we read this warning. It says that 1 serving contains 12 grams of sugar. 12. The general rule is nothing more than 5 grams per serving of sugar. Look, guys, sugar is the problem. The biggest problem with breakfast today is sugar. Sugar causes a sharp rise in your blood glucose level. Then the insulin level rise real high. The insulin will stay higher even when the sugar level starts coming down. So then you'll get a low in your blood glucose about 3 hours later. So this is the yin-yang that you're getting when you eat foods that have very high sugar levels. This will be absorbed right away. Why? Because it's got hardly any fiber in it. It's got 3 grams of fiber, 1 gram of soluble fiber in it. So all the sugar is going to be released into the bloodstream right away. And you're going to get a sharp rise in your glucose, followed by a sharp rise in your insulin levels. And that insulin is going to drive the sugar into storage. Remember, insulin is a storage molecule. You drive insulin levels up, you're now going to be in storage mode. So now the person that consumed this is going to be in storage mode. So don't think that this glucose and sugar is going to be used right away. Some of it will be available to the person that consumes it, but the rest of that sugar is going to be stored away. As long as that insulin level is high, and it's going to be high, much of these calories are going to get stored, and that's going to set you up for obesity. Secondly, it's going to set you up for hunger 3 hours later. Thirdly, that short spike in that sugar is going to drive the children crazy. They become hyperactive. They're high blood sugar. So now they're uncontrollable while you're trying to get them into the car. And when classes start, they might fall asleep, only to turn out at the break and eat another high sugar meal. And now they're going to be revved up again until they fall asleep in the class a few hours later again. And then the whole cycle repeats itself over and over again. So when we look at sugar, this should be always less than 5 grams. Never more than 5 grams per serving, whether it's an adult or a child. Also, when I look at this over here, I can see that everything in here is processed. It has so many other ingredients in here. Besides, it says it's oats, but there are a lot of preservatives in here. There's colorings in here. And we know that these all cause behavioral disorders in children as well. We never want to consume these type of products. A microwave oatmeal is not recommended. If you want to eat oatmeal, get the real thing, organic oatmeal, cook it. This is instant. Instant oatmeal is not recommended. You want to use regular, and you got to cook it on the desktop. And that's the oatmeal that you really want to have. So let me look at some other things here. Fiber. It has only 1 gram of fiber. Why is fiber so important? Because when you eat something that's full of fiber and you also have sugar with it, the sugar is not going to be absorbed so fast. I've told you before that processed foods take out the fiber so that the shelf life is high. You must have fiber in the diet, otherwise the sugar is going to be spiked up real fast. It'll go up really, really high. So fiber stops the rise in the sugar. That's why if you're going to eat a fruit, you should eat the whole fruit with the fiber. Now, it's going to have sugar in it, it's going to have fructose in it, but the rise in the glucose is going to be small. But if you took apple juice, for example, it's got no fiber in it, but it's got all the fructose in it, all the sugar in it, and that apple juice will just be down in 10 seconds. It's got no fiber in it. There's going to be a very sharp rise in the glucose level. That is why no apple juice for kids. It is far too high in sugar, and it has no other nutrients in it. Nothing much in it at all. Zero fiber. Now, if you take an apple instead, it's going to have pectin in it. It's going to have fiber in it. It's going to have a ton of other nutrients in it. You must eat your fruit, not drink your fruit. So fruit juices, not a good idea. That brings me to orange juice right here. Same thing, this doesn't have fiber in it. Let's look at the label. It's got 23 grams of glucose in it, 23 grams of sugar in it. That's 4 times more than what I've already requested, right? I said nothing more than 5. And how much fiber does it have in here? 0. 0 fiber. And then they add into this calcium and folic acid and other things that are added in here. Juices are one big reason why you spike your insulin level and go into storage mode. You take juice every morning, you will gain weight. Every day. Juicing will make you gain weight because you will spike your insulin. Insulin is a storage molecule, and you will take those calories and put them into storage. You partition the calories. Not a good idea. Now take this liquid here. This is milk. Milk is high in protein. And yes, it has some sugar in it. And what has more sugar, skim milk or whole milk? Skim milk has far more sugar, volume for volume, because for the same volume of milk, skim milk doesn't have the fat in it, so you're going to get far more glucose in it. No skim milk. You should have whole milk only. This is whole milk. It comes with the fats. Why are fats so important? Because then all the vitamins will be absorbed through fat, because the fat-soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K, and they will not be absorbed into the body without fats. So you want a fatty breakfast, especially for children, so they can get all the vitamins that they can absorb into the bloodstream. You need fats, whole milk. So if you're going to give them anything, you give them whole milk, okay? And this one here has, so I don't worry about saturated fats. I don't worry about saturated fats because saturated fats are not the problem. Dietary fiber is 0 because milk doesn't have fiber in it. We know that. And there's no added sugar to this. It has its own sugar in here. So this will increase your blood sugar too, but it's a different kind of glucose, right? This is a different kind of glucose. It has lactose in it as well. And as long as you're not lactose intolerant, you're going to do very fine with this. They add vitamin D, but if you want good vitamin D, the best vitamin D is actually sunshine. So vitamin D goes into your gut, but it's vitamin K2 that'll take the vitamin D and assimilate it into the body. So if you take a lot of vitamin D in your diet, unless you also have vitamin K2, it's not going to be very helpful. And remember, grass-finished milk has vitamin K2 in it as well. So K2 is very important. You want to have grass-finished milk, not ordinary milk. Also, I like organic milk because it doesn't have all the pesticides, herbicides in it, nor does it have any of those hormones that are injected into those milk. So organic milk. Milk is very important. There was a study done in young boys that they gave them regular milk and then they measured the testosterone levels 3 hours later, and there was a definite discernible drop in the testosterone levels after drinking milk because the milk was full of estrogens. So milk, you don't want estrogens in it. You want to have organic, grass-finished milk only. So what about taking fruit and putting it into your bullet machine and making a puree out of it or juicing it? I don't like that because the fiber, which I told you about, we want to preserve that fiber. And when you spin it at high revolutions, you're breaking up all that fiber. So then when you drink that juice, you're going to get a spike in your glucose. So I like a machine that's called a masticator. And what it is a machine that looks like a juicer, but it takes the fruit and it actually squeezes the juice out of it, but doesn't shred all the cells open, and it does not destroy the fiber. So when you drink that juice, it's going to be a little bit thicker. That's why it's called a masticator. And it will still give you all the nutrients that you need, but it'll preserve the fiber in it as well. So I like the masticator. Better than that is just to eat the whole fruit. Because, I see sometimes people drinking a big glass of juice and they'll have a whole banana, whole apple, 10 grapes in it, 5 raspberries, 10 blueberries, celery. And if you took all that aside and said, go ahead and eat it, they probably can't eat it because it's just too much. But when you give it to them in a liquid form, they can down it very quickly. And there's a lot of problems with this because remember, eating is more complicated than you think it is. When you choose something, you're already sending a signal to the brain through the vibrations in the mouth on the crunch that, hey, food is on its way. And it prepares the gut by starting to produce digestive juices. When you drink something, that signal's not there. The next stage is your saliva. If you eat the food, the saliva that contains amylase will already start changing the pH of the food because it becomes more alkaline. And secondly, it has amylase in it, so the digestion process already starts in the mouth. And it's really quick, it starts very quick. But when you drink something, you don't get the benefit of the amylase either because it's in the mouth for a fraction of a second, not enough time to mix with the saliva. You want to consume foods that going to mix with your saliva, send a signal to the brain and your olfactory nerve as well that food is coming so your body can prepare for it. So there's no mismatch in the timing when the food arrives and your gut is not yet even prepared because it never got the advance warning that food is coming down the pikes. So eat your food, don't drink your food. So here we have another little favorite because these are known as these little toasters. You just pop it into your toaster and you can have them out there. And I'm just going to read you the ingredients once again. And you know I'm going to say no because there's a warning signal here. So the warning here is fiber 0. Why would I want something with 0 fiber? Look, you're supposed to consume, and even kids are supposed to consume bare minimum, 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. You're lucky if they're getting 10 grams. Now that fiber, why do I keep talking about fiber? Yes, it attenuates the sugar rise and the insulin rise, but it's also more important for your gut bacteria. Our children, majority of them, have dysfunction of their microbiome because we're not feeding the right bacteria with the right foods. So if the bacteria, what do the bacteria want? They don't want this, they don't want that. They want fiber because that's what they live on. We're not giving them fiber. So the fiber is good for you because what it does for you metabolically, but the real benefit of fiber is the bacteria in your child's gut. When you give that child fiber, especially soluble fiber, the bacteria in their gut will use that fiber and they'll flourish. The good bacteria in the gut love fiber the most, especially soluble fiber. And we know that we have 100 trillion bacteria in our gut, and we only have 10 trillion cells in our body. So we are more bacterial than we are human. And those bacteria, they are the ones that are controlling a lot of the immune system in our body, the way we react. They also control a lot of chemical production, the postbiotics. They actually digest more than 50% of the food. See, we only have 18 enzymes. Only 18 enzymes in the body to digest food. But there's such a variety of food. So who's doing all the digestion? Well, we've outsourced it to the bacteria in our gut. So your child, your baby, your child's bacteria is what's actually digesting a lot of the foods and producing postbiotics. These postbiotics then get absorbed into the bloodstream. So about 50% of the micronutrients that are floating around in our blood is not what we metabolized or consumed. It's actually what the bacteria produced, and then we absorb it. So I'm telling you that your child needs to eat for itself, but also for your bacteria. And the biggest food your bacteria want is fiber. This thing has 0 fiber. Is this going to do your bacteria any good? No. In fact, let me tell you, it's going to harm the bacteria. How is it going to harm the bacteria? It has preservatives in here. So it has emulsifiers, it has colorings, it has preservatives, and all those cannot be metabolized by the human being. What they do is that they get metabolized by the bacteria. So the colorings, we know that the artificial colorings hurt the bacteria. So they actually die. So now the variety of the bacteria in the child's gut gets altered because of all these colorings. And that's how we know that the postbiotics then get absorbed into the bloodstream, or they don't get absorbed into the bloodstream because they're not being produced, and they go up into the brain as well and cause behavioral disorders. Some of these artificial agents also get into the bloodstream, but the data shows that you can overcome that more so by giving the right foods to the right bacteria, and the correct bacteria will produce the right postbiotics. You have to feed the bacteria in order to be healthy. This one has 7 grams of sugar in it. So you'll say, well, doc, that's not too bad, but it is bad. It's about the 5. And that's what I'm going to look at this label. And it only has 0.5 gram of protein in it. And I mentioned no fiber whatsoever. So the other things that this thing contains, so it contains less than 2% of the following: starch, non-fat milk, whey, monocalcium phosphate, soy lecithin, which is an emulsifier, artificial coloring and fruit juices, cornstarch, cinnamon, molasses, vegetable juice for coloring, cellulose, diglycerides, sodium alginate, cellulose gum, citrus, are you bored yet? There's more. Tricalcium phosphate, citric acid, malic acid, natural flavors. We don't know what natural flavors really are. Rosemary extract for freshness, Anytime you see something like this, you just put it away. This is convenience food, but it's absolute poison. I would never. So, absolutely not a good idea. Same thing applies to this one here also. This is all convenience, full of sugar. Let me tell you what the grams on this one is. This one has 30 grams of sugar. 30. 30 grams. Yeah, that's disgusting. We're just going to put that away. All right. Honey roasted, these are cereals. So again, cereals are suspect always. So let's take a look here. Dietary fiber, only 2 grams. That's all it's got in it. That's it. Only 3 grams of protein. Your child needs protein. Where's the protein? Where's the protein? There's no protein in here. Carbohydrates, total 34 grams. That's way too much. 9 grams of sugar as well. Way too much sugar, way little fiber, and hardly any protein in here. And then it's got all the caramel color, it's got malt, natural and artificial flavors, extracts, BHT for preservation, thiamine mononitrate, bioflavin, and all these vitamins were added in there because they took it all out. This is, again, totally processed, comes in a box. Anything in a box, a packet, anything that has a barcode on it, I'm always going to be suspicious. Got a label on it, I told you that's a warning. Put that away. So we talked about the milk. So let me talk now, because time is of the essence, about what I fed my baby. My grandbaby came to me, and we had her for 10 days, and we had to feed her every morning because she's hungry. So the first thing she did is we give her some of her milk. And she was drinking goat milk. And we gave her goat milk from the beginning because I think it's closest to mother's milk. So what's so good about mother's milk? Well, of course, I can talk about mother's milk for a long time, but pertinent to what I was saying over here, it contains in it oligosaccharides. Milk that mother's milk contains oligosaccharides, and we can't digest oligosaccharides, and yet mother's milk is chock full of it. So the question is, for who is that? It's for the bacteria in the gut. So mother's milk is really to feed the baby, but it's to encourage the growth of bacteria in the gut. Look at the way nature did this as well. So mother's milk is the best milk in the world. Nothing can come close to it. And it's chock full of these oligosaccharides, plus it's got all the immunoglobulins, plus there's bacteria in it, all designed so that the baby is going to have a fantastic microbiome. Because that microbiome is going to be, the first 3 years of that microbiome development is going to determine that child's health forever and ever. Because after 3 years, that microbiome sets in. Then it's kind of hard to change that microbiome. That's why the first 3 years are very important. Of course, every year is important, but the first 3 years are the most important years to develop that microbiome. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that we did over here. Now this one here, this is Kifer. And I love Kifer, and she loves it too. And Kifer has 16 different strains of bacteria in it. So we want foods that are fermented for 2 reasons. One, the live bacteria are going to get into the gut. And number 2, the postbiotics from those bacteria are also getting into the gut. So Kifer is good because it's live, but also the postbiotics are going to get into you. 16 different strains. And we know from numerous studies that Kifer, people who consume Kifer on a regular basis, even adults, have a decreased incidence of infections. In children, it's been shown to decrease ear infections, sore throats. So you want to introduce this at a very early stage. Now look, it's very high in protein. And I told you, your child needs protein. It's growing. It doesn't need sugar. The child wants protein. So here we go, protein. How much protein? 5 grams of protein in 2/3 of a cup, okay? And it has no fiber, of course, and the sugar, but this is not added sugar, and this is the sugar that comes in milk, which is galactose. So it has galactose in it. It has lots of saturated fat, 4.5 grams of saturated fat. I love that, because then all the vitamins A, D, E, K are going to be absorbed also, and that's fantastic. I love that. So there you go. So we take this, we put it in a bowl, and then we add some blueberries to that. So we added, for her, about 4 to 5 blueberries. And for adults also, we do 4 to 5 blueberries. Organic. blackberries. We gave her about, well, actually, she doesn't eat too many of these blackberries because they got those little seeds in them. Because remember, each little thing there is one fruit and it has a little seed in it. So we tended not to give her too many blackberries, but we do as adults. So this is what I have every morning. And I'll put about 5 blackberries in my Kifer. So I take a bowl, I put about a cup of Kifer in it, and I'll put blackberries in it, and I'll put blueberries in it, about 5 of these, and about 6 raspberries. Now, the raspberries have the highest concentration of soluble fiber. Your kid will get so much fiber by eating blueberries, which has phytonutrients in it, the blue, that's phytonutrients, antioxidant, and because it comes with all that fiber, yes, it has sugar in it, but that sugar will not cause that spike, so you'll get flattening, so that child's not going to go through the yin-yang through the morning, is not going to be like uncontrollable as you get into the car and then falling asleep halfway through the class until the next break. So we love this. We love the raspberries, the blueberries, so you get all my antioxidants. And because there's fiber, it fills you up, because fiber fills. Here's some eggs. Love eggs. Unlike what was taught to us before for children and for adults, that, oh yeah, we've got to stay away from eggs because there's too much cholesterol in it. No, that's fantastic. What's better than 1 egg is 2 eggs. Now with a child, I know that my 1.5-year-old can finish a whole egg. So how we prepare this? We can make an omelet of it. We can hard boil it, half boil it. We can poach it, whichever way you want. Each egg has approximately 6 grams of protein in it. And the yolk is extremely rich in all the nutrients that you can aim for. Look, who said that this is not the breakfast for children? You can give them an egg every day together with your Kifer. And by the way, what is this here? This is Inulin Powder. So why is this on the table here? Because we still don't get enough fiber. So I add my Inulin, 1 scoop, into my Kifer every morning. So now, by the time I'm done with this, I've got approximately 5 to 10 grams plus another 10 grams, almost 20 grams of fiber already. And I haven't even left for work yet. And what happens here is that my immune system is going to be better because my bacteria are better. I don't get constipation. I don't have to strain. I have regular bowel movements. And my nutritional status is very good because my gut bacteria produce all the postbiotics that I need. Now, what else? Of course, I cannot have the whole gamut here, but what else do? We have fish for breakfast. So the salmon is fantastic. It's high protein, especially if it's wild-caught salmon. So we've got to change how we do breakfast. We've got to get out of this breakfast and come back here. Salmon. Even leftovers from the night before, such as chicken. You can have chicken. There's nothing wrong with eating chicken for breakfast. We need to change the way we do breakfast. What do I drink with this? Not orange juice. I'll have my tea or my coffee. That's fine. And for children, they're going to have their milk, but they're going to have this. By the way, when they drink Kifer, when they finish that, they're pretty full. So children should be drinking milk in the morning. They always give them a glass of water as well. It has to be filtered water. Children need water, not out of a plastic bottle. Nothing out of plastic, because children will absorb the plastic just as much as you would. You shouldn't be on plastics anyway. None of your utensils should be plastic. You should not be storing anything in plastics. You should not be consuming anything out of plastic at all. So what's good for adults is also good for the children. In fact, they are more sensitive. Please stay away from plastics as much as possible. What else can we do for breakfast over here? We can improvise a lot of things. So the other day, we took some sourdough bread, and then we had taken lentils. We soaked them the night before. All lentils and legumes must be soaked the night before. Then you decant the water, so it gets rid of all the lectins and the arsenic and any other toxins that are in it. So whether it's your beans or whether it's your lentils, that's how you prepare it. And then you cook it. And you cook it in a pressure cooker. That kills the rest of the lectins. Now you can make whatever you want out of that, you can add spices to it, and you make a paste out of it, and you put that on your toast. And you have that. Put some cilantro on top of it. Cilantro binds heavy metals, for example, gives it a nice taste as well. So you got to jazz it up a little bit. Who said that that's not a typical breakfast? That's a fantastic breakfast. I can make waffles. I can make waffles out of chickpeas, organic chickpeas. I can make nice waffles out of those. I can make pancakes out of those as well. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually cook a nice breakfast, include all these things in it. So we are going to make you some videos on how to make some of those special types of breakfasts for our kids and entice them into eating healthier and get them off all this. Because a waffle should not come out of the box either. You make them fresh. Pancakes, you make them fresh for the kids every morning. It does take time, but the dividends that it will pay long term is phenomenal. It's unbelievable. So it should be real food for mornings, not processed, manufactured food. Real food, not dead food. There's no vibrational frequency in this food. This food has vibrational frequency. This can go bad. This will never go bad. This will stay for a year. 6 months, you come back, it'll still be there. This is going to get bad. It'll rot. Therefore, you eat it quickly. If it's going to get rotten, it's very good for you. These eggs are going to go bad. Therefore, eat them. The Kifer will turn bad. Eat it. Anything that's alive is going to die. So you got to eat it. So the fresher the food, the fresher the meat, the fresher the vegetables, the fresher the fruits, that's what you want. Not this. This is dead. It's got no vibrational frequency. If I put these foods into a machine and measure its vibrational frequency, its innate frequency, it will be less than 30. This blueberry vibrates at over 200 hertz. So you take one of these, even right now, it's been taken off. You put this inside one of those machines, it's actually vibrating at 200 hertz. It's still alive. And that's what I want, live foods, because when this goes into me, it's going to convey energy into my body. So live foods, not dead food. So this is just the beginning. If you like this video, then do follow the other videos which I'm going to make. And the next ones are going to be even more detailed because I'm going to show you how to cook those foods. And we're going into much more detail. But for now, let's wean ourselves off that and come to real food. Thanks for watching. So if you really like this video, here's another one that I think you'll really enjoy. And if you want to see one of my latest videos, click over here. And of course, don't forget to go to my website where you will see lots of educational resources and find out how you can arrange or book a consultation with me.